Hi, it's Darren. Welcome to the NYPD, the New Yorker Project Deluxe. This is episode 1. I'm excited. I'll give you a brief introduction on what we have planned to bring you over the coming weeks. This channel is going to focus around the project. It's a 1954 Chrysler New Yorker Deluxe. Yes, it does have a Hemi 331 firepower. It's been around my family since long before I was born, and it has some crazy history. It was a globetrotter. I'm going to share that with you guys as we go along in future episodes. This channel is going to bring you, as you might expect, some wrench turning, some busted knuckles. We're going to have some wins, probably more than a few losses. I'm going to have you guys in the comments probably say, well, what the heck are you doing? That's okay. I'm learning. I'm not a professional mechanic. I'm not even a shade tree mechanic, but I'm going to get there. It's bucket list time. So, yeah, we got a long way to go, and I hope you guys come along for the ride with us on this New Yorker. It's going to be great. So, anyways, personally, I'm somewhat of a historian, and this car, you know, it's definitely got a strange and intriguing history that I'm going to intersperse with the episodes, with sprinkles of connections to the past. You know, the history of the era, history of the manufacturer Chrysler in the 1950s, as it relates to this car and to the car industry as a whole. Like 1950s American cars, it was the halcyon days when things kind of went nuts. You know, the classic cars people think of, the first generation Corvettes, the 57 Chevy, Chrysler, the Chrysler 300 in 1955, that this is kind of related to, and that's a little spoiler for the future. You know, also geopolitical history. As you're going to find out, this car in particular plays a role in that. And, you know, it's post-World War II, from Texas and Mississippi to West Germany, and then back to Central Canada. So what is it about this car, this model, that makes it a meaningful example of something worth saving? It is worth saving, and it's more. It's perhaps even a time machine that we can employ to look back on seminal moments in the history of the American automobile and what role this car played in that evolution. It's not just this car, it's the people who designed it, who built it, the people who owned it, who drove it, and who left it behind. My uncle, they were heroes of the greatest generation and the following one. So let's talk about the car. When it was new, it would have looked like this. This is a picture of a 1954 Chrysler New Yorker Deluxe in light blue. This one was found, could be found in the Imperial Palace Museum in Las Vegas. It was owned by a gentleman who you probably have heard of. Leonardo DiCaprio played him in a movie you may have seen called The Aviator. Howard Hughes, he had this particular car. His car had some modifications. If you look right below the C-pillar on the back haunches of the car, you'll see some air vents there. This car had the air conditioning system, which was kind of rare in 1954. And he also had some modifications for an air purification system because, well, he was Howard Hughes. So he did that. The car, when it was sold in auction in 2020, I believe it had about 1,600 miles on it. So this is a good example of what our car looked like at the beginning of its life. Our car was not as lucky as Howard's car. It didn't spend the last 70 years indoors in the climate-controlled conditions in the desert in Las Vegas. Upon returning to Canada, it spent quite a few miles bounding down the gravel roads in central Canada, where we are now. And in the late 50s, the roads in central Canada were not very good. So it's got some rash and some history stories in the rocker panels and in the chrome, but we'll see that as we go along. So this car itself, it was in an indoor garage, and then come the late 90s, the situation with the garage, and we're going to talk about that in a future episode. I'll get in more detail on the journey of this car in our family. But late 90s, 1999, I believe, we had to get the car from where it had been stored since the 1960s. So my brother and I, we rescued the car from there. 1999 was the year my first daughter was born, and my kids are grown now. So I wasn't in a position to invest a lot of money, unfortunately, in restoring a car. So it sat in outdoor storage in 3 or 4 locations over the years, and I'm at the point now in my life. My kids are grown. My partner and I, we were looking to build a new home in 2022, and the opportunity came up to maybe do something where we would have room for a shop in the back. So that kind of got the ball rolling for moving forwards on this project. So we're kind of excited about getting the New Yorker home and getting it the love and attention that this car definitely deserves. It is a survivor. It's 70 years old. Regardless of what it's been through in its past, it deserves a little bit of respect and not just being sent to a crusher. So that's what we're going to have on the show, on the channel here for you. This is episode 1. Thank you so much for bearing with me all the way through this. If you like the content, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. And there's a little bell thing for notifications on there. Brand new channel, no subscribers, so I'm going to need some help from you guys to get the YouTube algorithm to recognize that, hey, this is some great content here. So if you guys could do that for me, if you like the content. If you don't hit the button, but please do if you can. And that'll help us grow the channel going forward. So what to expect? The car is not physically here in my possession right now. It is sitting outside in a cover. There's a picture here I'll show you of where it is right now. My shop, I'm going to go through some detail again, like I mentioned, about the shop construction and where we're at. It's getting close to being completed, but we're probably still a month or two at least away from having the shop in a condition, in a state where we can receive the car in and get started on the car. So we're going to talk a little bit about the car and the history over the next couple of months while things warm up outside. It's early March here. It is still winter. 3 days ago, it was minus 28 degrees Celsius, minus 18 Fahrenheit, I think, for my American friends. So it's been cold. So we'll have the shop ready probably in May. We'll get the car home and we'll get started. We're going to go kind of through it from front to back, but probably back to front. We're going to start in the trunk because there's probably some history in the trunk of the car, assuming that the mice haven't taken it all. Hopefully not. So we'll have some content every couple weeks, and then once the car's here, we'll probably see stuff a little bit more frequently. I'll read every single comment you guys post if you have any suggestions or things you'd like to see about the car, or want to know more about the first generation Hemi or the Chryslers in the 1950s. Put them in the comments, and we'll see what we can come up with for you guys. And this can be your channel for rebuilding and restoring this legend. Really, as you'll see, it's a very interesting car. So that's all I have for today. Please keep the shiny side up, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.